Konnichiwa, minasan! Alex here, and today we'll be taking a trip to Japan and walk through the streets of Kamurocho as we review Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, hours later. Yakuza 6 is set immediately after the events of Yakuza 5. Kazuma Kiryu, the Dragon of Dojima, and the main protagonist of the series, has been gravely injured. Haruka, Kiryu's adoptive daughter, just revealed to the world at her first idol concert that she was raised by a Yakuza and announces her abrupt retirement from the scene. The unfolding events cause a whirlwind of unfortunate situations that winds up not only throwing Kiryu in jail, but also causes Haruka's newfound celebrity negatively affecting her adoptive sibling's future. When Kiryu gets out of prison, he realizes that Haruka is nowhere to be found and sets on a journey to find her and bring her home. Assisting in sending off Kiryu in his final game is a completely new game engine. Appropriately named the Dragon Engine, it makes the game feel a bit more streamlined and faster than its predecessors, dramatically lessening loading times all around so that you can focus on playing the game rather than waiting all the time. The new engine also allows you to explore Kamurocho in first person, immersing you in its environs as you take in the sights and sounds like never before. Admittedly, I rarely use this view, but it's nice to know that the new engine is versatile enough to allow for this kind of experience. The freedom that the new engine provides, the seamless transition in and out of combat, the ability to take the fight into any open-door establishment, makes for a combat experience unlike anything in the series to date. Gone are the cutscenes that serve as loading screens whenever you're initiating combat. This time around, you can freely run up to thugs and even dropkick them to initiate battles. You can even utilize the environment, such as the microwaves in convenience stores or even the crowd, in order to deal massive damage to enemies. The areas you fight in aren't as small as they were before too. It's because of these massive changes that prompted the team to reevaluate the series' combat system and how it feels. And I can assure you that it feels great. Sluggish at first, but great. Instead of having different fighting styles, Yakuza 6 opts to return to the single fighting style the series started with, and tries to incorporate elements of previous styles into his existing repertoire. For example, activating Kiryu's Heat mode allows you to pick up weapons nearby to use as you press attack, much like the Beast mode in Yakuza 0 and Kiwami. This change might not sound cool to fans of the aforementioned games, but it personally didn't bother me much. The newfound freedom the new engine provides was something I first thought that the series didn't actually need, but after getting used to how the game feels after playing for so many hours, it's difficult for me to even think that there was such a time that we had to deal with a bunch of limitations in the past. I did mention that you can slam thugs' faces into microwaves, did I not? Action RPGs are nothing without interesting combat and progression systems, and Yakuza 6 features one of my favorite progression systems to date. Instead of a singular experience point pool, Yakuza 6 has 5 different experience point pools that you can fill up. These experience point pools act as currency to buy upgrades to your stats, heat moves, digestion, and advantages in certain side activities. Gaining points for each of these pools are simple. Eat food, fight enemies, play Sega arcade games, go to the gym. If it's an activity in Yakuza 6, it will give you experience points. One of my favorite ways to gain experience in the game is the gameplay loop that happens when you get Kiryu full by eating up a lot of food, picking a fight with thugs to make Kiryu hungry again, and repeating the process over and over again. It sounds ridiculous talking about it now, but it's a gameplay loop that you can try to min-max efficiently depending on what experience point pools you want to build up. Best of all, it gives you incentive to venture beyond the main story, awarding you with points for just trying out things. The side stories in Yakuza 6 are on par with the side stories I've experienced in the series. They're kooky, crazy, and even a little bit weird. I've always thought that playing through the game's story, coupled with a few side activities here and there, is the quintessential Yakuza experience. And, thankfully, Yakuza 6 has plenty of the kind of side stories that will make you feel a wide range of emotions. Rounding out these side activities are numerous minigames that could be spun off into their own games. While I had hoped that these mini-games exhibited the same depth as the ones featured in Yakuza 0, the mini-games in Yakuza 6 were still genuinely entertaining, and felt appropriate, given the stories the game was telling. coupled with the games you find in the arcades, you can literally spend hours indulging in everything Yakuza 6 has to offer outside of the game's main story. Speaking of which, the folks at Sega haven't been shy with saying that this is Kiryu's last game. At this point, Kiryu is now 50 years old, and even though he doesn't look the age, it shows with his actions, reactions, and the way he carries himself throughout the game. Along the way, he'll meet both old and new characters, the latter of which have quite a varied cast, including Tatsuya Fujiwara of Battle Royale and Death Note fame, and Takeshi Kitano, the veteran Japanese actor who you may have recently seen in Ghost in the Shell, Takeshi's Castle, and a bunch of older Yakuza films. I love the new characters. In some ways, you can even make the argument that each of the new characters represent an archetype that you've met in the past games, almost feeling like a culmination of Kiryu's journey to this point. The main story, as expected of the series, contains a bunch of wild twists and turns that keep you invested in it, as well as the well-being of the main characters. I can't say that it's the best in the series, but it's a really well-told story nonetheless, and it's a fitting conclusion to Kiryu's story. The story's presentation is highlighted by the game's new engine, further blurring the lines between pre-rendered cutscenes and in-game. My only complaint in this department is that some story scenes don't feel as dynamic as some of the pre-rendered cutscenes, with characters speaking to one another with just the camera angle shifting from time to time. I would have loved it if they added some sort of dynamism in these scenes, but it's a small complaint. In addition to the fantastic performances by the main characters, all of the game's side stories are voiced, replacing the old typewriter-esque sound effect found in previous games. And this might just be me, but the music in Yakuza 6 is so damn amazing that I found myself snagging a copy of the soundtrack after beating the whole thing. Yakuza 6 isn't just a new game in the series with a new engine to boot, but a great send-off to a character who's been with us most of our lives. It's hard to fathom that Kiryu's been around since the PlayStation 2, and with Kiryu's story wrapping up with Yakuza 6, it's even harder to fathom a Yakuza game without him. For me, Yakuza 6 hits all of its emotional notes right, while still maintaining its identity as a game that also can conjure up humor amidst its seriousness. And it's only made me look forward to where the series is headed, even if it isn't going to be set in Kamurocho.
Yo! お疲れ様でした!